What is going on, everyone? It's been a while. I had a lot going on recently in the last couple months, so I've had a little time off through the winters with my work and everything, and figured I'd kind of get back into shooting some YouTube videos. I've had this Peterbilt for quite a while that I bought, and I really liked this paint scheme, and a friend of mine had it, and I thought I would do some work to it. It was missing a set of stacks. It's about the only thing that it's missing. Other than that, it's a pretty clean truck. So the plan is for this truck is to put some wheelbase on it, do a set of stacks, different bumper, lower it, different deck plate, and maybe a few other modifications, and just clean it up, make it a real nice clean build. So thought I'd do a video of tearing it down once again of another truck, and we'll go through the process of getting it stretched, making a set of stacks for it, possibly may do a set of chino stacks on it, getting it lowered, and just a few other things. So I'm going to start with taking the bunk off, taking the cab off, pulling the fenders apart, suspension, and just getting it stripped down to a bare frame so we can get it cut in half. And I'll go through the steps of everything that I use to get to this point that we're going to be at once we're finished. As you can see this one has the purple centers on it, and I'm not a big fan of that, so we will probably take them off. I'll show you how to remove that stuff. So we'll do a video on everything on this truck. I did the video of the green and white truck, and we will do this one similar to it, similar style, similar build. So let's get it taken apart. Just a Phillips head screwdriver. Underneath it you have a screw for the bunk, and you just take it out. And I like to keep a Tupperware bowl handy to keep all my parts and pieces in. There's your bunk off. Another thing real quick, as you can see, this truck has a back glass in it. What you can do to just a simple modification is either take a Sharpie on the back side and come in here, or some black paint, and just darken this window up, and it really helps the look of them when you do that. Just a simple thing that you can do as far as a modification on one of these little trucks. We have a screw underneath the frame going through the transmission. We'll take it out. Lift your hood up. You have your breather going into your cab. Most time you can kind of just slide it back. And there's your cab. Also, we're going to pull the deck or the fifth wheel off to remove the deck plate. You got to be real careful because these fifth wheels are made of plastic, and as you see, it has a pivot point right there on both sides. And you just kind of pop it out to get that off. Your deck plate, a lot of them have just a piece like this throughout them. This one has a deck plate cover, which I don't like. A lot of times you have to go in on the side here and kind of work them up. Let's see if this one, I won't be using this, but sometimes you gotta take a knife or something, and because they glue them. And you got to break that glue joint loose. So that's got that. Now let's see if it'll pop up and lift off. And there's your deck plate cover. You can see where it leaves the glue on the side. Now we're going to remove the tanks. In previous videos I think I've showed, but if not, you have where they insert the tank with their pins through the frame. They'll take something and smash on that where the pins are and heat that up, and it puts a little tab on the inside the frames, and you have to take and cut that off. Like I said, I've had this truck for quite a while and just been wanting to do something with it. I've got project after project sitting here, and maybe if I do a video, I'll finish one. So I've been wanting to do this little truck for a while, so maybe we can get this one knocked out and put it back in the cabinet finished. Now usually I'll just take a flathead and kind of get in between the frame and the tank. See, this one ain't wanting to pop loose, so it's probably still got some plastic in behind it holding that on. I've had some requests on doing some pickup truck work, making some YouTube videos on them, so that may be something else we get into in the near future. Got to keep both pins on the tank. Let's see if we can get this other side off. That one's off. On these steps it's the same way, but on the steps you can do this to keep the pins. I'm not sure I'm going to keep these steps. I may build me a set of aluminum steps to go on it and possibly do a set of tanks for it too. So I'm just going to pop these off because I'm not concerned. I got to keep the pins, just wiggling it back and forth. You can break the plastic on the back, and that one kept both of them too. And that don't happen every time, it just kind of luck of the draw on that one. On the bumper, you have the same plastic tabs. You just go in there with a knife and get them tabs off. Just take your screwdriver and kind of work it out. That one broke one of the tabs, but like I said, I'll build a new bumper for it. I like to keep all my parts in case I have a truck that's missing something. I've got the parts to repair it if I don't decide to make a new bumper, steps, or tanks, or whatever. Now these dikes I've had for a while, and I just keep taking a Dremel to the teeth on it, because a lot of times when you go to grab stuff, you put little notches in these little dikes. So I just keep a Dremel on them and keep them sanded down so I can get into these pins. A lot of times you can just get in there and if you can ever get a hold of them. And all you do is just get in behind it and kind of squeeze it and start working them out. And if you lose one of these, I'll show you something once I get a pin out. The main thing is you don't want to break the hood hinge, because it's aggravating to fix them. If you ever do. But I'm not concerned about the pin as much as I am the hinge. Well, that's one thing you don't want to do. I'll show you one here in a second that's got this problem. Before I pull that off, I'll show you. Where's that truck? This is what happens. See, the hinge is broke on this truck. That one's still on it. When I bought the truck, it was already like this. You can try to glue them back on, but they don't stay. There's really no good way of fixing it, because it's casted into the hood. So about all you can do is make you a new piece like this that fits on there, and then grind down all the way up to where the casting meets the fender, and make another piece that's similar to it, and then glue the piece you made on this, and then put your piece that broke off kind of back in and glue them together, and that'll kind of keep it, you know, where you can still use your hood to open it and everything. Or you can just glue the hood shut. If I ever come up with a good way, I'll be sure and show you. So here's your hood. Now if you lose a pin where these tabs go in, they have a back in them. They're not completely drilled through, but you can take you a drill bit with a little piece of styrene or a piece of brass rod, or I've seen people use toothpicks. Anything round that you can drill out the same size, and you can stick it in there and just make sure it's really snug and it fits well. I'm going to pull the motor and radiator out. These radiators can be tricky at times. And a lot of times you'll break one of these pins off, but it's no big deal. Just glue it back in and you're good to go. For the rear section of the truck, this has the tail piece for the tail bar, or I don't really know the correct terminology. It's just a trim piece they've got for your lights, and there's I guess it's called a tail bar. I don't know exactly. A lot of times you can just take your screwdriver and work up underneath it and pop it right off. Now for the rear fenders, you just take your screwdriver, pop it there, pop this side loose, so it comes out of your pin points where your hose are. And a lot of times I don't really care as far as how this is, because you're going to glue it all back in. So I just usually just get up underneath it and just work it, and it finally will come loose. You can drill them rivets out. They got little rivets down there, but they kind of aggravating to get to. Get you a pick, anything to get up underneath that. I don't recommend a knife, but you know, if that's you want to use a knife, I guess it's all right. I'm looking for my other pick here. You just work it out, get your fenders out. So you got two holes there where these two rivets here and here were. Most of the time you can just pull them out. So at this point, you're ready to cut your frame in half. Now, this is your back hole here for your bunk to set on. So I always just kind of mock it back on there and figure out where I want to cut it, because you got to be able to have some material there for your brass to reattach to. So the back of the bunk is setting. Let me zoom y'all in a little bit so y'all can see. The back of the bunk sets right across here. Now I have plenty of room here and on this side to put brass, because I'll come in here, the frame will get repainted. So you have plenty of room here to put your brass on. And I like putting quite a bit of brass on it, just to, it's solid, keeps the truck solid. So I will probably come right here where the bunk set, and I'll cut this frame in half here and here. And then you worry about your hose. Well, all you got to do is find you a drill bit the same size as your pin hose, and once you put your brass up here, you can sand this down a little bit, because you got to sand it for your brass to bond to. You can take a marker on top and mark where your pins line back up on your frame. So when you put your piece of brass on the side, this ain't the right size. This is just for showing purposes. So say you got a spot there and you got a spot there. You'll put that C channel on there, and you can mark on your C channel with your Sharpie where those pinholes are, and then you know that it's about in the center of the frame, so you just find the center and mark your spots where you transfer it from the top to the side, and then you just drill your holes, and then you just make sure when you put your brass back on, you get them holes lined back up so your pins will go back in. So we're going to go over here to the saw. Before I do that, I want to pull my, well, it don't matter, because I'm going to put a different drive shaft in it anyways, because when you cut it and stretch it, the drive shaft doesn't work. So let's go over to the bandsaw. I'll take y'all over here and we'll cut this frame in half so y'all can go through the whole process of everything. Set y'all up over here so y'all can see. And all I'm going to do is cut this frame here in half. Go back over to the bench. And we'll start working on the stretch on it. Get y'all reconfigured here. Alrighty. So when you're stretching a truck, there's a few things you want to kind of look at. You know, you don't want a really long wheelbase truck. A lot of times I just take something and kind of set my frame back up. I think y'all are still zoomed in, yeah. And a lot of times I kind of mop things back up to kind of get an idea of what I want as far as a wheelbase. Drop y'all down so y'all can kind of see at the eye level. So when you're setting this up, you don't want a really big wheelbase truck or what have you. You just kind of look at, you know, how everything's going to set. Move this back where I can get y'all a better view. We'll put the hood back on. So when the truck, before it was cut, it was like that. Now you can take and figure all the calculations in 1/64 and figure your wheelbase length, and I'm trying to find a truck that I've already stretched. Here's one. here. As you can tell, that truck's got a lot of wheelbase on it. So that truck is, I think, about a 320-inch wheelbase, 315. Well, I'm looking for a certain truck and I don't have it over here. No, I don't have one. So you don't want one really long. You really just want to kind of make it kind of what you think looks good. I was looking for a trailer, but you won't never be able to see the trailer in the shot anyway. So anyways, that is, to me, a good wheelbase length. Usually, a lot of the guys that build do a 2-inch piece of brass, and that's what they use for their stretch. So, if we take this and get a measurement on it, where it's setting at right there, that's 2 inches. So if you look at that, that's about where your brass is going to set on your truck. I more or less go by eyeballing what I think is right. And to me, that's about a good length on one. We're gonna put this bunk back on and kind of just look at it. You can even put your fenders back on, just for reference. Of course, those ain't on very well. Let me see if I can get them back on a little better. There we go. Anyhow, I ain't gonna put that side on. But to me, that's a better look, just by adding just a little bit of wheelbase on it. So if I'm gonna stretch the truck, that's about where I'm gonna go with it. Because to me, that with a flat top truck like this, to me, I don't like a real lot of long wheelbase, because it makes your truck look way too long. If you got a stand-up bunk, it looks a little bit better, because the bunk is better on them. It's longer. So with this style bunk, I just like to go not as long on it. So we're going to call that good on our stretch. And because I will probably wind up building a set of tanks for this and a set of steps, I'm gonna run my brass from here where it's technically where your leaf spring is. It's where the perch is, but they always build their casting out a little bit too far. A lot of times I'll take my Dremel and I'll clean all this up to get rid of these corners, because it just doesn't look realistic to me. Of course, you'll never really see a whole lot of it, but I just like, being I'm gonna paint the frame, I like to come in here and just cut this little corner off of this. It just gives it a little bit better characteristics and more realistic look. So I will start my brass right here at this point here, and I will run my brass all the way up to this airbag for where the cab sits. And I will sand all this down, get it all sanded down, get it cleaned up. I'll probably just strip the whole frame with stripper so my paint will stick better on it, because I'm not sure if I'm gonna do back with a purple frame or a white frame. I haven't decided yet. May do a custom deck plate on it, kind of just doll it up a little bit, maybe do some striping in it, being the fenders has got a triple stripe in it, and the front fenders have got a triple stripe. We may come in here with the truck and do a purple frame again, and then come in here and do a white stripe down the center, or we may just do a white frame or just a purple frame, just keep it a solid color. But that's the plans for this little truck. I'm right at 30 minutes or so. We're gonna cut the video here, and we will shoot another video once I get it stripped down and start working for the stretch on doing the brass work, and see where we can go from there. Hope y'all have a good evening, good time, and sorry it's been a while. And if you noticed, I've changed the name of the channel. It's just, our farm is called Rock Haven Farms, and I just decided to do my Instagram and my YouTube channel as Rock Haven Customs. So that's what the change is for on the YouTube channel, and I hope y'all have a good one. Talk to you later.